You are listening to The Vocal Technologist. Spoken tech for your ears.
Okay, imagine this. 4 out of 5 engineers on your team walking in thinking, yeah, my code's definitely going to crash today.
Right.
That kind of intense, paralyzing feeling. That's apparently what it's like for product managers right now.
hmm They're really caught between, well, huge pressure on one side and this massive tech opportunity on the other.
Yeah, so today we're kind of pulling apart those challenges, the big shifts happening in product management.
Looking at the high stakes, but also the strategy.
Exactly. And if you're trying to get your head around this whole high-pressure world, well, you're listening to Vocal Technologist for the essential insights. But let's just ground this with that number that really stopped me.
The Atlassian one.
Yeah, the Atlassian study. A huge 84% of product managers fear their products will fail.
84%. I mean, that's almost everyone.
4 out of 5 are basically planning for failure. It's wild.
It is. And that anxiety, it's really a symptom, of this deep uncertainty that's just not sustainable.
So what's the way out?
Well, what we see looking at companies that are actually navigating this well, it's not just about executing faster, it's a whole strategic rethink.
Okay.
So our mission today, really, is to understand why this fear is so common, and maybe more importantly, how the really effective teams are, escaping that fear. And they're doing it through, disciplined strategy and getting smart about AI.
Okay, right. Let's unpack that pressure cooker then. I mean, product management's supposed to be about reducing risk, so why is everyone so afraid of failing?
Well, it often comes down to this trap of just executing, just building things.
Right. Shipping features.
Exactly. A lot of product leaders, they seem to view the strategic work, the thinking, the talking to customers, discovery as like a luxury.
Something you earn.
Yeah, something you do if you hit your deadlines or you have spare time. But focusing only on delivery speed without that deep strategy, it just traps you. You're constantly reacting.
Mm-hmm.
So the key thing here really is that time for strategic work isn't optional. You can't just execute harder if your strategy is wrong.
Okay, that sounds good, on paper, commit to strategy. But how do you actually sell that idea to, say, your engineering team?
Right.
The ones who just want to build stuff, they hear research and they think, oh, great, fluffy stuff.
Yeah, you don't sell it as research. You frame it completely differently.
Yeah.
It's risk management.
Ah, okay.
Discovery, talking to users, prototyping. That's what protects the investment. So when you explain it like, look, doing this upfront work properly stops us from wasting 2 months building the wrong thing, well, engineers get that immediately.
Right. It's about efficiency.
It's about efficiency. It's about not wasting their time. It shifts the focus from just, building things right to making damn sure you're building the right thing to begin with.
Right. And speaking of building the wrong things,
Yeah.
sometimes that problem starts way higher up, doesn't it? Like with the business model itself, especially in B2B.
Oh, absolutely. That brings us straight to what some call the hidden trap killing B2B product teams.
Which is?
Project stacking.
Yeah.
Basically, these teams get whipsawed between two totally different demands.
Okay.
On one hand, they have to build custom stuff for specific clients because, that pays the bills now.
Gotta keep the lights on.
Yep. But on the other hand, they're also supposed to be building scalable, standardized product features for the future. And you just can't do both well with the same team and focus.
So how do you escape that? Better PMs.
That's usually not about PM skills. It's bigger.
Yeah.
It needs organizational change. Leadership has to actually separate those two things. You need dedicated resources, dedicated focus for the scalable product work.
Gotcha. So it's a structural fix, not just a process tweak.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's say the organization makes that shift.
Right.
They separate the custom work from the product work. What does a good roadmap look like then? Because let's be honest, most roadmaps are just feature lists.
Right. Things sales promised last quarter.
Totally.
Yeah, a feature list isn't a roadmap, it's just a schedule.
Yeah.
A real roadmap, a useful one, is your strategy laid out. This is where you need something like those 5 steps from features to outcome roadmap. It forces you to build it from, narratives, focused relentlessly on outcomes you can measure.
Like what kind of outcomes?
Like increasing activation rates by 10%, or reducing churn in this segment by 5%, things that directly tie back to the company's big goals, the features. They're just the experiments you run to try and hit those outcomes.
Okay, that makes sense. Outcomes, not just outputs. But here's where I think it gets tricky. You've got this great outcome-focused strategy. How do you make sure everyone, marketing, sales, support, is actually on the same page.
Yeah, the alignment challenge.
So people aren't just making stuff up or reverting back to feature talk.
That is exactly where something like the messaging matrix is so valuable.
And that's your matrix.
Yeah, it's basically a cross-functional tool.
Yeah.
You get marketing, sales, product, maybe even support in a room, and you hammer out agreement on the core positioning, the key benefits, and yeah, the features that deliver those benefits.
So everyone sings from the same hymn sheet.
Pretty much. And you tailor it by persona, right? So marketing isn't saying one thing while sales is saying another.
Yeah.
It keeps everyone aligned with the actual strategy. Honestly, it's as much about keeping the peace internally as it is about clear communication.
Huh. Political peace through documentation. I like it.
You got it.
Okay, and another part of strategy is sometimes saying no.
Yeah.
Setting constraints. But teams often push back, right? They worry about losing autonomy. How do you pitch constraints so people actually buy in?
Yeah, that resistance is real. The trick is how you frame it. Don't present constraints as just limitations. Frame them as tools for empowerment or efficiency or evidence-based experimentation.
Give me an example.
Okay, so instead of saying, you can only work on this one feature, you say something like, we're focusing all our experimentation bandwidth on this specific part of the flow for the next month so we can get statistically significant results much faster.
Ah, so it's about speed and learning.
Exactly. It reframes the constraint. It's not bureaucracy. It's about making smarter, faster decisions. Empowerment through focus.
Okay, speaking of speed and focus, the biggest thing impacting everything right now, the real elephant in the room, AI.
The AI reset.
It's changing not just what gets built, but completely rethinking how companies grow.
And here's where that fear we talked about meets this fascinating paradox. The numbers show it clearly.
What do they say?
Well, something like 76% of product teams are excited about AI. They see the potential.
Okay, that's high.
But 54% say they aren't really sure how to use it effectively in their actual work.
Huh. So excitement, but confusion. Why? Is it the tech skills?
Not really. It seems the issue isn't that PMs or designers can't learn the tools. It's more about a lack of leadership support for safe experimentation.
Meaning?
Meaning leaders aren't creating the space or the psychological safety for teams to try things, maybe fail small, and figure out how AI fits into their specific workflow and strategy. Right now, you often see engineers leading the way because they just try stuff out.
Well, product leaders are waiting for the grand top-down AI strategy memo.
Pretty much, which might never come, or might be too late.
So you've got this excitement, but the adoption is kind of stalled because leaders are being cautious.
Yeah, and that caution, it's actually pretty costly now. Because the old ways of optimizing for growth, they're getting obsolete fast.
How so? What's the new playbook?
It's just fundamentally different with AI products. Growth isn't just about A/B testing button colors anymore. It's driven by things like prompt box activation. How quickly can you get someone value from that first interaction?
Okay.
It's driven by big bets, by step change innovations, not just incremental tweaks. And often it's driven by founder-led social presence, building community and trust. The sheer novelty and insight the AI delivers becomes the growth engine.
Wow. Okay, so optimization is out. Big swings in value are in.
In a nutshell, yeah. Product velocity and the core value beat micro-optimizations.
So what does all this AI disruption mean for, the strategy that basically defined tech for the last decade? Product-led growth, PLG. Is it dead?
No, not dead. Not at all.
Oh.
PLG, where the product itself drives acquisition, activation, retention, it's actually being turbocharged by AI.
Turbocharged. How?
Well, AI is going to automate a lot of the basic growth stuff, the low-hanging fruit optimizations we just talked about. But the really exciting part is how it enables what some are calling agentic products.
Agentic products, like products that think for themselves.
Sort of. Think less sci-fi, more like products with limited decision-making ability built in. It's not just a chatbot answering questions. It's a co-pilot, proactively suggesting the next feature you should try, or optimizing a workflow for you based on predicting what you need.
Ah, so the product becomes much more proactive in guiding the user.
Exactly. It turns PLG from a passive system into this really powerful, active machine for getting users activated and keeping them engaged.
And this shift, it's even moving into how companies go to market, right? Like who's actually doing the buying and selling?
Precisely. The future GTM strategies have to reckon with the fact that AI agents aren't just passive tools anymore. They're becoming active participants.
Meaning?
They're researching competitor products, they're negotiating pricing terms, sometimes they're initiating the purchase, and maybe even doing some selling.
Whoa.
Yeah, it completely changes the dynamics of the traditional sales funnel, how products get discovered, how they get bought.
Okay, so strategy, AI, growth. let's bring it back full circle. All this execution, all this growth, it has to connect back to the customer, right? Delivering actual value.
Absolutely. You need to validate that the strategy is actually working in the real world,
Yeah.
delivering outcomes.
So how do the best teams actually bridge that gap? The gap between the engineers building stuff and the customers actually using it.
Well, one really interesting model gaining traction is the forward deployed engineer, or FDE.
Like Palantir uses.
Exactly, they kind of popularized it. FDEs aren't just sales engineers doing demos, they're technical folks who actually embed with key customers for real stretches of time.
So they're living the customer's problems.
Pretty much. They partner up, they dig deep to uncover the real problems, the root causes, and crucially, they verify the outcomes the customer needs.
Okay.
And when you combine that deep, outcome-focused insight from the field with really rapid internal prototyping back at HQ, that becomes an incredibly powerful engine for building products that actually scale because they solve validated problems.
That makes sense. Get the insight, build fast, test, repeat. But okay, you get all this amazing customer insight back. How do you stop it from just disappearing into like random documents or Slack channels?
Yeah, the insight graveyard. It requires discipline and, critically, a system, a well-managed UX research repository.
A central place for everything.
Exactly. It takes all those scattered interview notes, survey results, usability findings, feedback tickets, and turns it into a single source of truth. It drives efficiency, it helps align everyone, and makes sure the decisions are genuinely user-centric. It fuels that continuous improvement loop.
Okay, this all sounds very logical, very streamlined, but we know reality is messy. Politics, right? Stakeholders. Sometimes they have strong gut feelings, intuition,
Oh, yeah.
and they want their idea prioritized over maybe what the data or the research says. How do you handle that without, starting a war?
Yeah, it's tricky. First, you got to acknowledge that stakeholder intuition. It's usually pointing to a real pain. They're rarely wrong about the existence of a problem.
Okay, so validate the pain point.
Right. Where things go wrong is assuming that just shipping the feature they want guarantees success or adoption. The real success comes from disciplined post-launch iteration. Meaning, you launch it, maybe smaller scale first, then you obsessively observe how people actually use it.
Yeah.
You look for flaws in your original discovery assumptions. You measure the actual outcomes, not just completion. And you protect the scope fiercely using things like time boxes.
So listen to the signal, but verify with real usage data and outcomes.
Precisely. Build trust through transparency and iteration.
Speaking of trust, building that trust, especially upwards with senior leadership, is so crucial for a PM's career. What's an efficient way to do that? To communicate progress or challenges up the chain?
Clarity and brevity are your best friends, especially for those skip-level updates. I'm a big fan of the disciplined 3-slide readout.
3 slides, that's it.
That's it. Slide 1, context, what happened, what's the situation. Slide 2, response, what did we do about it, what's our plan. Slide 3, next steps, what happens now, what support might be needed.
Okay, context, response, next steps. Super clear.
It's predictable, it's concise, it forces clarity. Leaders love it because it shows you're in control, you're thinking clearly. Honestly, mastering that simple format can accelerate trust and your career faster than almost anything else.
Wow. Okay, so bringing this all together, that huge fear factor, the 84% anxiety, it really stems from feeling reactive, from organizational uncertainty, right?
Yeah, getting caught in that execution trap without solid strategy.
And the way out, the path the high performers are taking, it involves real cultural clarity. Shifting hard to an outcomes focus, truly leaving the feature factory behind, and critically, treating AI not just as a tech thing to delegate, but as a core leadership and strategic challenge.
Absolutely. Empowering teams, creating that safety to experiment smartly.
So it's about strategy, culture, and smart adoption.
Right. And if you connect this to the really big picture, the whole point of bringing AI into how we build products, it shouldn't be about replacing humans. It should be about amplifying what makes us uniquely human, which means that our focus in education and how we structure product work, it really needs to shift even more towards cultivating things like motivation, human connection, genuine originality, deep curiosity.
Because AI will handle the rest.
It'll handle the synthesis, the optimization, the drafting, the easy stuff increasingly well. So maybe a final thought for you to chew on is this. Given that AI is getting so good at those things, what specific part of your current product development process, maybe it's how you brainstorm, how you define problems, maybe those very early messy prototypes, What part are you consciously protecting from AI?
Protecting from AI.
Yeah, protecting specifically because that activity done by humans is where the unique sparks happen, where the essential human originality and connection for your team really comes from. Figuring that out and safeguarding it might be one of the most important strategic decisions you make.
Spoken Tech for your ears.